What's up, marketers? Today I'm going to show you exactly how I'd build out a Facebook ad account from scratch that has a budget of $50K per month. So I have my empty ad account here, and I've decided that I'm going to be building out this ads account for a fake brand in the CPG or consumer product goods industry. Now, this is a industry I've personally bought from a lot recently, and I think as a media buyer, these kind of brands are super fun to work with because you can do so many cool things with the creative. However, the margins on these products tend to be quite a bit lower. So right out of the gate, there's going to have to be a huge emphasis on testing for creative and testing the right audiences so we can optimize at a more rapid pace. If you want to see more videos like this one, please leave me the industry and ad budget you'd like to see me build out an ad account for, and maybe we can make this a regular segment. So normally with my own clients at the agency, we do a robust internal audit to really drive that strategy. But for the sake of time, I'm going to boil down some of the big things for us to figure out right now. And the first one is budget distribution. Now, this is a $50K per month ad account, but I want to figure out the percentage between prospecting and retargeting before we even start to build things out. Now, there are many things to take into consideration here. Number one, if this is a brand new ad account with a brand new pixel, then I'm going to be focusing a lot more on prospecting so I can actually build up those retargeting audiences. And on the flip side, if this is a brand that's already had their pixel installed for a while and they already have a bit bigger retargeting pools, then I'd probably increase that retargeting budget a bit. And again, if you have a higher ticket product that needed a lot of education in retargeting, in that instance, I would probably shift more of the budget to retargeting as opposed to prospecting. But for this particular product, I want to have that budget distributed to be 70% in prospecting and 30% in retargeting. So that's going to boil down to $35,000 a month in prospecting and then $15,000 per month in retargeting. And again, nothing is set in stone here. We can always adjust the budgets as we go, but I think this is a good place for us to start off. So the next thing I like to figure out before starting that build out process is creative. And this is actually a much bigger, longer process at the agency, but I think something really good that you can always do at home is to check out your competitors or similar brands in Facebook ads library. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Okay, so we're gonna start off by going to Facebook ads library. So that's facebook.com/ads/library. And here we're going to be able to search for some of our competitor brands to see what kind of ads they're running and see if there's anything that we want to replicate and make better. Be sure to click search all here. And one of the ones that I want to check out immediately is Magic Spoon cereal. I just bought this. It has not come in the mail yet and I'm so excited. But I want to take a look at some of the ads that they're running. Tastes like the cereal from your childhood. I love that.
Cereal was my favorite parts of the morning. Childlike cereal for adults.
Tastes like the cereal from your childhood.
What I really love about what Magic Spoon is doing is they're combining like really highly produced ad creative with UGC. So I actually bought from Ugly Drinks and their branding is like also just a lot more fun. I feel like they could afford to do a little bit more UGC. I like that they did this one. It seems like it's with an influencer. Let's take a look at that.
It's here.
Oh, I love that. Actually, I love that they're showing the packaging and stuff because that was one of the things that my parents had actually texted me about before I got there. They were like, what is this stuff? So after doing some competitor research and also digging into my own creative resources, I would then decide what kind of creative I'm going to use at which part of the funnel. So what I would do here is I would be writing out creative briefs to send to my art director. And then when we would get those assets, that's when we'd be dripping those into the campaigns that I built out. And I'm not going to show you which ads I chose just yet, but I'll be showing you which ads I placed at different parts of the funnel when we're going through the entire account overview. So for today's ad account, we are going to start off by using the tofu, mofu, and bofu account structure. Now, sometimes I change this up depending on what kind of data comes up over the next few days and weeks, but this is generally where I start. And if you don't know, tofu is top of funnel. These are your cold prospecting audiences, people who've never heard from you. Bofu is your middle of the funnel audiences or your warm audiences, people who might have engaged with you on social media or have watched some of your videos or even made it to your homepage, but they're not quite ready to convert yet. And then bofu, those are those hot bottom of funnel audiences that are ready to convert. And these people have indicated interest in a specific product or even added to cart. So I'm going to be hopping into the ad account here where we're going to be building out our baseline account structure. So generally I like to start building off the MOFU or middle of funnel campaign. Number one, because it's the easiest to build out. And number two, I find that a lot of brands actually overcomplicate this campaign. And I find that by implementing a super simple structure here, I'm able to get way better results. So we're going to go ahead and create campaign, choose the campaign objective, conversions. I use conversions for 95% of all my campaigns, and then go ahead and click continue. Now we're going to name it, I do FF. Fetch and Funnel is just the name of my agency. I always like to tag that at the beginning so that the client, when they look in there, they know what's going on. They know that's me working and not someone from their side. MOFU, conversions, just because I like to keep track of the different objections when they do happen. And then CBO. This is not a special ad category. Campaign details, we're going to be going for conversions. No A/B test. We will be doing campaign budget optimization, and we're going to actually edit that budget later on, but we're going to keep it at daily budget and then keep the campaign bid strategy at lowest cost. Go ahead and go next. Now we're going to name this. I already know that I'm going to do social engagers, 365 days. I'm going to leave that there. And then we're going to choose purchase on the conversion event. This little notice right here probably won't show up for you. This is just an empty ad account that I'm using for this tutorial, so you don't have to worry about that. We are not doing dynamic creative for middle of funnel. There's going to be no offer. And then budget and schedule, I just want this to start immediately. And then now for the audiences. So I'm going to go ahead and add in my 365-day audiences for both Instagram and Facebook. I've actually never found a good reason to segment these apart. Now, sometimes if you have an Instagram heavy brand, like you're a very well-known Instagram brand, sometimes when I create lookalikes, I'll only do it for Instagram as opposed to Facebook. But that's really the only time that I segment those out. And then I do want to exclude some purchasers. Let's see if we have a pixel purchase in here. There we go. Pixel purchase 180 days. And then generally I would also exclude like a custom export list from my Shopify, but I don't think I have that on here. I'm going to keep detailed targeting expansion on. I don't really think it's going to affect anything because detailed targeting expansion only happens when you have interest targeting. So they say, but I'm going to keep all that open. Only United States good, automatic placements good. There's going to be no cost controls on this. I generally don't use cost controls when I'm first starting on an account until I've done those tests. But then we go ahead and click next. So I'm not actually going to show you right now what kind of ads I have in the social engagers. I'm going to be showing you that entire creative breakdown through the entire funnel towards the end of the video. But right now we have the social engagers 365 days audience. In this MOFU campaign, we're going to be adding one more ad set for website visitors, 180 days. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. So there we go. Now we have our social engagers 365 and our all website visitors 180 days. Now I know that some media buyers actually like to segment social engagers away from all website visitors, but I actually find that there's tons of overlap in these two audiences, which is why I like to house them together. And generally what it takes for these two audiences to convert, especially when they're not quite at the viewing product stage or adding to cart stage, what gets them to convert is like a lot of the similar messaging and a lot of similar creative. Additionally, another thing that I want to point out is I like to start off with these two ad sets that have as big a retargeting windows as they go, because I'm really trying to get learnings about what kind of messaging and what kind of creative is actually going to get these people to convert. So being able to start off with a larger amount of data is going to really help me in that goal in the early days. But once I do get an idea of what's working on that aspect, then I'm going to start doing some testing on the time windows and figure out, okay, is the drop off going to happen after 3 days, 7 days, 14 days, 30, all the way up to 60, so that we don't keep on spending our money to those longer retargeting pools who have already decided that they didn't want to buy with us. So right now it's just all about getting learnings from our creative. Now the next campaign I'm going to build out is BOFU, or bottom of funnel. And this is actually going to be the only campaign that is not going to be using a conversion sales objective. We're going to be using catalog sales here. Now I'm going to be using a few phrases interchangeably, which is DPA, and that stands for dynamic product ads. And all that means is that we're using a catalog sales objective. So with dynamic product ads, DPA, or catalog sales objective campaigns, you're going to need a product catalog catalog that's already hooked up from your Shopify to your ads manager. Now, when using a DPA or product catalog sales objective campaign, your ads are going to look like this. They're going to have your product on a plain background, really whatever kind of images you're using on your website. That's what Shopify is going to be pulling into the product catalog and showing on these ads. Now I'm going to build this out really quick, and then I'm going to walk you through what we have here. So to start off, I like doing 180 days view content, add to cart. And the reason why I do this is because I want to start off with the simplest account structure possible while also getting the most amount of data possible. So I'm actually going to be testing out some messaging in this specific campaign, and particularly I'm going to be trying out a few different ad format variations as well. Now, the messaging or copy that I like to test in this part of the funnel is number 1, testimonials from happy customers, and then number 3, also evergreen offers. So that's things like your free shipping, your happiness guarantee, and any other kind of evergreen offers that you have. And the third one that I want to test are discounts. Now, something I hear a lot of from business owners is that they don't want to be seen as a discount brand. And that's why I really do reserve using discounts for people who are further down the funnel. So maybe people who've viewed that content or added to cart. And another thing that you can do so that you don't seem like too much of a discount brand is to only give the discount on the first purchase and if they sign up for your email list. So you could use messaging that says something like, get 15% off your first order by signing up to our email list. And you don't have to do like a lead generation campaign or anything like that. Just actually have that CTA in your messaging copy, and people will know, okay, I got to go to the website. I got to find out how to get onto this email list, and then they'll get that discount. And for people that need to convert by signing up to your email list, they'll definitely do that. So once you have that initial 180 days ad set up and you've tested some messaging like the ones that I just mentioned, another thing I really like to test here is including the price on the ad and without. There are a few other things that you can test too, like including your product name. Then what I like to do is like determine where the drop off is, because you don't want to be blasting the same people for 180 days straight. So what I like to do is I actually like to segment it out like this and figure out where that drop off is. And then I'll take all the learnings and then relaunch a new ad set that's only going to like 3, 7, 14, maybe even 30 days. And with all those learnings, that will then be an optimized campaign. Okay, so let's take a step back right here and take a look at our bare bones retargeting funnel. So since we decided at the beginning that we're going to be putting $15,000 per month into our retargeting, right now I want to divide that up between MoFu and BoFu. So what I've decided is I'm going to be putting $10,000 per month in MoFu, primarily because those audiences are going to be a lot bigger, and I'm also going to need that cash to get some more learnings out of the creative that we're going to be testing, because we are going to be testing a lot more creative in that middle of funnel campaign. And then we're going to have 5K in BoFu. And of course, all of this is going to be adjusted as we go along. Nothing is set in stone here. But first, let me do some quick math so that I can figure out what that daily amount is going to look like. For MoFu, I'm just going to have that at 335. And then for BoFu, 5,000 divided by 30 is 166, and I'm just going to have that at 165. Cool. So some other kinds of changes I'm probably going to be making with these retargeting funnels as we go along include, in the MoFu, I'm probably going to also be testing some video view audiences, as well as Facebook page likers and people who are saving Instagram posts. Those are audiences that I tend to get a lot of traction out of as well. And then for BoFu specifically, I really do like having a standalone add to cart audience for special intro offers. And I really like 1 and 3 days for this. So I'll probably segment that out as well further down the line. Now, some other things that I might do just around the entire retargeting funnel are going to include retargeting like special or specific product pages or specific landing pages with detailed offers and creative. So next up, I'm going to build out the TOFU, or top of funnel prospecting campaigns for our cold audiences. Now, for accounts that are spending 50K per month or more, I'm really going to have at least 2 top of funnel campaigns to start. I'll probably be adding more as we go along and get more learnings. But what I'm actually going to do now is I'm going to build it out really quick and then show you what's up. Okay, Okay, so you can see here now that I have my 2 tofu or top of funnel campaigns. One is FF Tofu creative testing and the other is FF Tofu audience testing. Now these are pretty self-explanatory, but the top one is going to be primarily for creative testing. That's a dynamic creative campaign so that I can rapidly test new combinations of headlines, primary text, and different kinds of videos and images. And then the tofu audience testing, that's where I'm going to be rapidly testing new audiences using ad set budgeting. Now these 2 top of funnel audiences are just to begin. Generally, I will add a third one pretty quickly that's going to be for scaling, taking the learnings from both those campaigns, ones that I can just pour a lot of money into using super lookalike, super interest, and broad targeting, and just scale that up. And sometimes I'll add additional ones too, but generally for all of my accounts, I'm definitely starting with at least those 2 top of funnel campaigns. Now, as far as the creative testing campaign, here I'm going to be using super lookalike, maybe even a stacked purchaser 1%, and that's going to be primarily just for, testing that creative super quickly. Another reason why I like to do this too is because I really like seeing how dynamic creative plays in an ad account. So this is a really good way to determine if it's like an actual strategy I should roll out across the rest of the account too. But I like to start off by doing it just with creative testing. So yeah, the creative testing is something that's always going to be happening ongoing. And here I'm going to be using the most successful kind of targeting that we have so far. So, and if you don't know what that is, I generally just start off with a super lookalike 1%. So that's going to be like a 1% of all the lookalikes that you can create. So it's going to be like your social engagers, your website visitors, view content, add to cart, and then maybe even purchases. Or if you have a lot of purchases, go ahead and use a stacked purchaser there. That tends to do really well. And the way that I use this campaign too, and is about once a week, I'll try and inject new creatives and get those learnings and then roll them out across the rest of the top of funnel campaigns. And if I find something that I think would be good in Mofu, I'll put it in there too. So let's go ahead now and pop into the tofu audience testing ABO. So I find when testing new audiences, I really do prefer to use ad set budgeting as opposed to CBO, just so that I can make sure the right amount of spend is getting into those ad sets. Additionally, I've just found that in like Q4 of 2020, ABO has been working slightly better for me than CBO. So I just always like to be sure that I have a ABO campaign running and that I'm also scaling campaigns or ad set that are doing well. So I want to go through some of the ad sets that I'm actually testing here, because a lot of these things are things that I am sure to test out in every single account. So number 1, we have a broad all genders, all ages ad set. Again, I do find that this tends to work a little bit better in CBO, but I always like to give it a shot in ABO as well, just so I can actually see where the algorithm is distributing the spend among certain genders and certain ages. I just find that interesting as more of a data play, and the results tend to be good as well. Additionally, I also have a 1% lookalike on social engagers. Out of the gate, that tends to do really well, so that's definitely an audience that you should test. I also have the stacked purchaser lookalike. Generally, what I find when I test here too is that this will tend to work out very well very early, and then I'll scale that up to a CBO campaign, maybe trying a 3%, 5%, 7, 8, 9, whatever. Then we have the super lookalike. Now I know some people are going to be like, if you have the super lookalike in ABO and in dynamic creative testing, isn't that too much overlap? Generally, no. So I tend to find actually that I can get good results out of both those different campaigns, especially since they're using different kinds of creative. But if you see that one is doing better than the other, then for sure, turn the one that isn't performing as well off. Additionally, because this is for a brand in the CPG industry, I have an interest also targeting other CPG brands, and that's going to be really broad. I really want to find as many CPG brands as I can and put them into that one ad set. Additionally, I also really like testing early technology adopters. Now, in my head, this brand is going to be kind of like Magic Spoon, maybe a little bit like Olipop, like really fun. And I also find that the people who tend to gravitate towards those kinds of audiences tend to be early technology adopters. So this is an audience that I've used a lot and I found a lot of good success out of. So definitely give that a try. Additionally, I also really like testing a group of publications that I think that my customer avatars are reading. So that's an additional one you guys should also try and test out. Again, I have one for D2C brands, so that's going to be things like Warby Parker and Everlane, just because I think that kind of thing suits my customer avatar really well. Additionally, I also have an interest group for direct competitors. Now, obviously, we're going to be doing tons tons more testing here, which is going to include increasing the percentages of our lookalikes, adding new interest audiences, etc. But with a CPG brand, this is around the place that I'd want to start. Now, the last thing that I do want to talk about is creative and how I've temporarily set up the creative throughout the entire funnel. Now, for Bofu, our ad creative is already taken care of because, again, we're using a product catalog to showcase the product that our potential customers have viewed or added to cart. So whatever images are on your Shopify account that you use the catalog to hook up into Ads Manager, that's what's going to be showing up here. And again, here we're going to be testing out messaging to start off with, and then maybe testing out ones with pricing and without. And for Mofu, I'm going to be starting off by testing these 4 ads. Number 1 is a UGC video that's going to be a single testimonial, and I'm also going to include an IG Stories formatted version for that. Now, I really love using a longer in-depth single testimonial review in retargeting, because that's where I find people want to have more in-depth knowledge of your product. So that's why we're including that there. We're also going to be doing an image graphic that's going to contain a customer review in that format as well. And I also like doing a video from the founder type ad. Again, we're going to be pairing an Instagram Stories version along with that. But I find that this does so well when people already have some knowledge of your product or brand. And then finally, I want to do a GIF or video that's going to showcase the main benefits, something like this Kaluga strollers ad, which I really love. And then at the Tofu level, we'll definitely be testing out tons of different things in the dynamic creative testing campaign. But before that, because we don't want to wait to get the results for that before we start launching the ABO audience testing campaign, here's what I'm going to start off with in that specific campaign. Number 1, we're going to also be doing a UGC video, but here we're going to be testing out the compilation. So that's going to feature several different single testimonials from several different people. And what this is going to do, the reason why I like doing it in prospecting is because it shows proof in numbers and often is able to attract the customers or users on social media because the editing is going to be so quick and choppy. Additionally, we're also going to be doing another image graphic of a press hit. So in Mofu, we're using this same kind of idea, but for a customer testimonial. I find that in top of funnel, I tend to get a lot better results using press hits because that kind of shows like, oh wow, this was reviewed by a very popular publication, and it kind of makes people take your brand a little bit more seriously. So that's what I want to do there. Additionally, I want to do a GIF or video that's going to showcase the main benefits. It's probably going to be the exact same one that I use in Mofu. So, there is going to be a little bit of overlap there, but I always find that when you showcase the main benefits in both Tofu and Mofu, you're going to get better results. Additionally, I want to have 1 to 2 shorts videos that are going to showcase the product up close while also highlighting the main benefits. And then I also want to, at some point, test a few ad sets based on the good audiences that are coming out of that ABO testing to only Instagram Stories. I really do actually like segmenting Instagram Stories out from the rest of the campaigns, because if we can put that into its own CBO campaign as just like an Instagram Stories campaign, I find that that tends to work really well for particular audiences. And that is it. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more of these types of build outs, hit me up in the comments below and let me know the industry and ad budget you want me to build out the next ad account for. Additionally, if you're enjoying the kind of content that I'm putting out, please let YouTube know that by liking this video and giving me a subscribe if you want to continue learning about Facebook ads from a professional me. Okay, that's it. Bye guys.